Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of Cookiecast. Today, I've got another podcast special for you. I sat down with James Keep, and we did a preview kind of special podcast. It was reviewing some movies. A few of the podcast crew went over to the cinema, saw a couple of movies, reviewed some games. Did some game reviews that we've been sort of wanting to get out, and we previewed some things that were coming up. So give this bad boy a listen and see what you think to this. This is another podcast special with myself and James Keep. So, podcast time. Let's do this. That's my catchphrase. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did, actually.
James Keep.
Hello.
Round 2.
Yeah.
Boom.
Bring it.
So, today, a little bit different to previous podcasts or other podcasts, I don't know. Let's just say it's a new format. It's going to be potentially your new format for being the game guru.
Yeah.
Games master.
Cool. Quite like that title.
Boss. So we're going to review some shit, not just games, movies. You and I went to the cinema.
We did.
Took our other esteemed guest, Mr. Paul Williams.
We did.
And tortured the shit out of him.
Made him watch films for 5 hours.
And he thoroughly enjoyed it. Anyway. Okay, so on the docket today, we're going to review some games, we're going to preview some games, we're going to talk some movies. So, let's dive in. Top of the list. Let's talk some Far Cry 5.
Far Cry 5. So obviously I gave a little speech on it on the last podcast that I did. And I have to say, I feel I've been lied to a little bit. Because the campaign did not take 25 hours.
Whoa! Hold the phone. You're not saying that a games company lied about a game that they were releasing?
Yeah, they lied to me. They're just full on, no holds barred lies.
Hang on here. Not Ubisoft.
Yeah.
They are such an upstanding company.
Well,
they would never lie to the people that are going to give them money.
To be honest, I'm a Ubisoft fan, as a rule, because I do like a lot of their games. Like, I play all the Assassin's games. They're Ubisoft. I like the Ghost Recon and the Tom Clancy series. They're Ubisoft. And Far Cry, obviously, are Ubisoft. However, this latest installment of Far Cry is not a terrible game. It's just not a brilliant game. It was definitely not worth the 8.9 reviews that it got off a company that we won't name. And that for me is the issue. I think anyone who was expecting some revelation of a game is going to be disappointed. I played it for about 17 hours, and in 17 hours the game was pretty much done. There was a lot of sitting around waiting for speeches to be done. The cutscenes, some of them were just too long. Don't get me wrong, I like storyline, but I felt the storyline kind of overtook the game in such a way that it ceased to be fun. And there were some cheap shots in there. For anyone that's played it, spoiler alert by the way, when you go to Jacob's area and you have to fight him, you just do the same thing 3 times before you get to him, and I was just like, that's not very inspiring.
So, as a game, I felt that there was a lot of cut, copy, paste in that game.
Yeah.
Which was compounded by going to that area, and they literally, like the 3 sort of points were, again, spoilers. I'm going to have to put a spoiler opener on stuff.
Yeah.
For this might be the first one where I do the intro might have to say spoilers, and then we can stop doing spoilers. Anyway, when you go to that area and it goes, here, do this, and you're like, okay, I'll do that, and then when you have to go back, it goes, hey, you remember that thing you did? Do it again. And you go, okay.
Yeah, it's just there are things missing, simple things missing. So anyone that's an achievement hunter like myself will know that there's normally a format to Ubisoft games that generally are things like complete an area 100%, find all the secrets 100%, find all collectibles 100%. None of those are on there. There's no defog the map achievement. There's no collectibles achievement. There are collectibles in the game, but they're completely obsolete because there's no achievement, so there's no reason to do them. Okay, you get skins, so you get t-shirts and stuff. But again, in a first-person shooter, your clothes you're wearing are completely irrelevant because you can't see them.
The only time you ever see your character is when you die. And something I realised the other day when I'd said that, I think I'd said that to you, is you die in black and white.
Yeah.
So all the wonderful coloured items of clothing that you're wearing, you never get to see.
And my character's got a hat, but I always find that when I die, his hat's always gone. So he's dead and bald.
I worked on the principle that I was never going to see my character, so it didn't matter what they looked like. So I gave my character a mullet. Because I never normally pick mullet. And I went, you know what? Screw it. I'll never see what this looks like. So fuck it, I'm putting a mullet on. So I put a mullet on. And
a top knot or a mullet?
Oh, it was a mullet. Because, I mean, it's set in, like, the deep south, isn't it? So mullets are everywhere. So, yeah, I went full-blown business up front, party in the
So what did we hear? Was it this week that the top knot is the millennials mullet?
That was on the Deadpool 2 trailer, wasn't it? I cannot comment on that. It's not a top knot, it's a ponytail.
You're not fooling anyone with that top knot, mate.
It's a ponytail.
For those of you that are Game of Thrones fans, you'll know where that comes from.
Ponytail.
But yeah, it is. I mean, things like that. I think unlocking skins for your car, unlocking tons of different cars, which are actually the same car, just with different paintwork.
Yeah, that was bad.
Again, it's the same problem because you can't really see the car.
And you never use them. Yeah. I just didn't use any of them.
No.
It's like, hey, you unlock this really cool car and it goes really fast and it does this, that and the other. Okay, cool. I'm going to use it now. I'm going to get out of it and I'm never going to see it again.
Yeah, I unlocked, I unlocked cars, boats, jet skis. Pretty much, I unlocked most things because I'm a completionist. But again, I would have liked to have seen an achievement to unlock all the cars. At least then I would have had a reason for continuing to play the game to make loads of money.
Yeah.
Because by the time I finished the game, I had something like $75,000 left. And I'd unlocked pretty much every item you could get. I had all the best weapons. And again, the weapons were limited. They pretty much all do the same damage. Even when you attach a scope or something, you get better range, but the damage doesn't increase. I go back to things like Ghost Recon, where choosing a weapon is like a really important process of the game. It's a really important part of the game and will definitely make a difference. Whereas in this, there is some advantages to liberating outposts stealthily. You get extra money, but again, you don't have to do it that way. And if anyone's unlocked Cheeseburger, well, Cheeseburger, for anyone that doesn't know, is the bear. If you unlock the bear and go to an outpost, you can just send the bear in and it will annihilate the entire outpost in about 5 seconds and you don't have to do a single thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't set off the alarm, you get the stealth bonus and you just sit back and watch.
Mm-hmm.
That character is cool, but super, super powerful. So for anyone that, just wants to have a quick go on Far Cry, go and get Cheeseburger and then let Cheeseburger play.
Yeah,
and you can play something else.
Yeah. I do feel it's a little unfair to compare anything to Ghost Recon because that game is an anomaly. Yeah. That game is so good.
It is exceptionally good.
It is so good. I don't think I've ever played a game that has given so much for so long. That game just, it lasts. It took me weeks to finish that game.
Yeah.
And at no point did I go, oh man, this game's draining. Oh god, I wish I could finish it.
Well, I just played it last week.
I just wanted to keep playing it and keep playing it. It was such a good game.
Yeah. I played it last week because they added the Splinter Cell
yeah.
storyline to it. So that's really cool. That was fun. It was a simple mission, but it's a cool crossover, and the fact they keep adding things like that.
But they've used it,
makes it interesting
to announce the next Splinter Cell game, which
I'm still not sure about that.
I'm very excited about.
Yeah, there is supposed to be a new Splinter Cell game coming out, and this, if you play Ghost Recon, this is like a sneak peek, kind of like one of the end credit scenes in a Marvel film. That's kind of what this is. It's like a prelude to hopefully the next Splinter Cell game.
Which apparently, not long after that mission was released, there was a thing that said, "Oh, they've used it to announce the next Splinter Cell." So, cool.
So yeah, Far Cry 5. So re-reviewing it, because I don't do out of 10. I do out of 5. I'd give it 3 out of 5 because the base game is okay. It's fun. There are some fun moments in it. Flying planes is still fun. Helicopters is fun. You get some interesting side characters. I actually found that multiplayer is pretty good, as in the co-op. Playing the co-op is good. The arcade stuff is interesting. There's loads of cool missions on there.
I can't comment on either of those because I've not even touched them. I think if in a world where somebody says, "Give me one word review for that game," my one word review for that game would be disappointment.
Yeah,
in the true Kevin Sobo kind of disappointment.
I think it's mediocre. I think that with what we can do with games now, I think you expect more.
Yes, definitely.
There's still the DLC to come, so that might spruce it up. But
before you jump into the DLC, I'll just sort of say, in my world, Far Cry 3 is hands down the best Far Cry game. One of the best games ever made. You'll never get close to creating a bad guy quite like the bad guy in that game. Far Cry 4 didn't really gel with me. I didn't enjoy Far Cry 4. I think because I was just comparing it to Far Cry 3. But I have played it. I have played a little bit of it recently just to sort of fill in the gap left by Far Cry 5. And then Far Cry 5, I've seen because I played 3 recently, thoroughly enjoyed it. Played 4 a little bit, meh, and 5, huge disappointment in my world.
It's just very quick. 5 is very quick to complete, and it seems too easy. It's too easy to bring the bosses out. Because it works on a system where you need to build up your reputation in doing stuff that brings the bosses out. And it's so easy. You just have to release a couple of prisoners, like liberate an outpost, and then they're on you. And I don't know, it was just... I was expecting more, really. So yeah, it gets like 3 out of 5. Which is still pretty generous. I mean, there's some good stuff in there. There's potentially some interesting things.
So, give us a rundown of the DLCs, because I didn't get any of the special edition stuff. I nearly got the gold edition of it, which I think had the DLC stuff.
Yeah.
But when I went to get it, they had sold out.
Right.
Which I was surprised
so, DLC, there's no actual release date as yet for the DLC. But knowing the way Ubisoft works, it will probably be in the next month or so. So, the first one is Zombie Apocalypse, which at this stage, I'm not sure when it's set. I have a feeling it might be set just after Far Cry 5.
Sorry, did you say Call of Duty? Did you say Call of Duty? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. So,
yeah, I mean, everyone's on
So it's a first-person shooter that's done with zombies.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's jumping on the zombie bandwagon. Everyone likes killing zombies. We're saturated with it, so... And it's a cool DLC. I mean, it's a good one to have. So there's the Zombie Apocalypse. So I think that's probably going to be set just after the events of Far Cry 5. For those of you that have finished it, you know what I'm talking about. The next one is set in Vietnam, and you play one of the characters that you met in Far Cry 5.
Now here's where things get a little sketchy for me. So Far Cry 5 set. Let's say it's set in the Deep South.
Yeah.
And it's set at a particular point in time, and I can see zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
Little bit set before the events of Far Cry 5.
Yeah, it looks like...
And it's a different country.
It looks like Ubisoft are trying something new in which they want to use existing characters to create new environments. Now, this kind of works off what they've done with their arcade mode. If you've played the arcade mode, there are tons and tons of maps that are set all over the place. So some of them are in the mountains, some of them are on tropical islands. There's one, I think, in space. And I think that what they've done is they've basically made a giant arcade mode in the DLCs. So unless those DLCs maps are huge, I think this is going to be another disappointment, because I have a nasty suspicion that they're going to just be taking a copy paste of one of the arcade levels they've done and just making it slightly bigger. Wow. So that's a concern. And obviously the third and last DLC is Mars Attacks or something like that, where you fight these like spider demon things. It sounds a bit Doom-esque. But again, I have a feeling that it's going to be a bit of a copy paste based on the engine they've got for the arcade. Yeah.
So I don't do the DLC. I don't do it unless I get it for free. And what I say there is, I got a special edition of Destiny, which came with 2 DLCs. I have played one of the 2. Because for me, you ask me for £50 and you hand me a game. I go, there's your £50. Thanks for my game. I want the game. I don't want. Please can I have £50 for 2/3 of this game, and then can you give me more money later for more of the game that you should have got originally?
This is an issue that's plagued me for quite a long time. I used to play on my Xbox a lot back in 2005, 6, 7, 8, that kind of time. And I kind of stopped playing when DLC really took off, because I felt that, like you've just said, I was paying 50 quid for a game and then I was paying an extra 30 quid for DLC. Whereas what I wanted was just a really good, complete game. I remember back in the days of Amigas and Commodore 64s and Nintendos, when you bought a game and that was the game and it was complete. And then if you wanted a DLC, well, the DLC would normally be the sequel to the game. Yeah. And that came finished.
It would be the next game.
I think now it's too easy for companies to release DLCs to a game that's not really finished properly.
So to me, the way it works is a company goes, let's make a game, but let's not make a full game, because we can then just get people to pay us more money for more game. But it should be what we release originally.
Yeah, I mean, it works with certain games. Because if you look at GTA 5, they're very, very successful. And I heard a rumour somewhere that they've made...
the biggest grossing
I think
thing.
They've made $1 billion on that game, from what I've heard. $1 billion. Which is a massive historical amount for a computer game. And they use microtransactions for things like in-game cash, shotguns, skins, that kind of thing. And that's a game that's still going. But... it's not like they've done that and just left it on the back burner. They're still releasing content for that game. So people want to go and play it. With something like Far Cry, you're never going to get that community with it, because the multiplayer is not good enough. And the game just isn't as diverse, it isn't as big. Because if you look at general Ubisoft games, the maps are normally massive. Even the map in Far Cry 5 is quite small. It's very easy to go from one zone to the next. Whereas if you take something, say, Assassin's Creed Origins, that map's enormous.
That's huge.
You can go across entire desertscapes. Okay, you might not see much, but there are things to be found in there, and that sense of exploration is what gives the game a bit more longevity. It might not be the most exciting thing to do.
I was going to say, but Origins might not be the best example, because Origins, there are sections of that map that have nothing in. I've been through desert bits, and it's like, so there wasn't anything here then. You uncover the map and you go, right, what's my incentive to come here?
There's a sunken temple in there. You just got to find it. And interestingly, that sunken temple was where you first met like the pharaoh type Anubis creatures, these like undead things, and that was a good little mission in itself. However, the point in that is that the map was huge. There were loads of towns, there were tons of things to discover, there were hundreds of side quests. There's loads of chests and things to find and collectibles, and they're all part of your achievement system, and none of that is in Far Cry 5.
Yeah,
and for me that's the biggest letdown. The game itself is just too simplistic. So yeah, I think we've probably just caned Far Cry 5 into the ground.
Yeah, shortest version. It was disappointing. And that's all I took away from it. That's all I walked away with was the disappointment I felt in that game, especially because a couple of weeks before it, I'd played Far Cry 3, which is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And, afterwards I played Far Cry 4 and it reminded me of that game. And that game I was like, yeah, not my favourite, but it was still a beast of a game. Far Cry 5 was just like, wow, so this is what we call... And, I think game companies are relying on the DLC to be lazy.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you could be right. I mean, we'll see. There's still some interesting games to come out later this year. So, and they've got, each company has got a different concept and a different idea and things they want to see. I think Rockstar have obviously been the most successful with GTA, so they're definitely leading the market on that. And I do think that other companies are probably going to follow suit. But again, time will tell.
So, Far Cry 5 review, you're going 3 out of 5.
Yeah,
I generally do the 10 scale. For me, it's like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, okay.
Disappointing. I would like to review a game, and that game is God of War. Which I know that you won't have as much... it's PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm an Xbox man, so
kid. Yeah. But I felt this was probably a good platform to do the review of God of War because I finished it the other day. Now I will hold my hands up on this one and say, for my first playthrough on the majority of God of War games, I want to play the story more than anything. Now there was points where I was like, oh, there's a chest there, and you need to do this and this and this. I can do that now, and I'll get what's in the chest because you need the stuff. But anything that I knew was going to take me more than, a few minutes to complete, I took it in, I absorbed it, and then left it and moved on. Because I wanted to just get through it. I needed to know, because I had so many questions. Why have we jumped from Greek to Norse mythology? Now, a lot of stuff I've been reading and watching and listening to centres around the Norse mythology. So it was a great time for this game to come along to be set in the Norse mythology. Now, essentially, I'm going to try and do a spoiler-free review because there are some big chunks in God of War 4 that are game changers. For the game, not in the game world. But first question was... Is this game a prequel? A lot of people thought it was a prequel. Is it a sequel? If it's a sequel, how is it set in a different world or a different universe?
To me, just looking at the trailers and from what I've seen of the gameplay, it looked like a sequel.
So, to answer that question, and like I said, I'm going to try and do spoiler-free, it is a sequel. And it is set after... Because I think the last one was actually a prequel. That whatever the hell that was called, which was awful. But I take this as a sequel to God of War 3. Now, I think it's just called God of War, but technically it's God of War 4. There's a kid. We don't know the deal with the kid. But it is, I can confirm it's a sequel. Very early on, there's a cutscene quite near the beginning, and when I looked at Kratos standing there, I was like, hang on a minute, he's got the scar across his chest from God of War 3, so it has to be a sequel. And so far through it, it tells you, yes, it is in fact a sequel, and it tells you why and how and all that. And I'm not going to ruin that for anybody. There was a moment in God of War where I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, this cutscene happened and it sort of revealed a huge chunk, and it basically answered a couple of the questions, the big questions about the game. And I was like, this is freaking awesome. I think I came into work the next day, I was saying to you, I was like, oh my god, God of War is fucking
I remember you saying it was really good.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I remember you saying it was really good, and a couple of people I've spoke to who have got PlayStations have also said that this game is just amazeballs. So...
And it has received perfect scores. So, I'm playing this game. I'm fucking loving it. It's great. It's God of War, but it's different. But it's the same, but it's different. Blah, 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 blah. And then, now again, I am holding my hands up at this point in time and saying, I didn't do everything in this game. There were areas I didn't visit. There were places I didn't go to. There were options. The kid keeps going, hey, we can either go and do the mission or we can do a bit of exploring. What do you want to do? And I'm like, I'm doing the mission. Let's go. Come on. So there was that. So, I am holding my hands up. And I have started it again with the intention of doing more of it this time round. So, but my review of God of War 4, whatever you want to call it, unfortunately, again, is disappointing. It is not a 10.
And is that because you finished it too quickly, or because it lacked
No, I put
story?
a lot of hours into that game. I put a lot of hours in. So, it's set in the Norse mythology. Early on, you meet a Norse god, but they don't tell you who it is. You just meet a Norse god. And there's a fight between Kratos and this Norse god. Again, I'm not going to ruin who it is, because like I said, it doesn't tell you straight away. The fight is freaking spectacular. It's proper brutal, and it's a god fight.
Nice.
Because Kratos is still a god, and he's fighting a god.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's that. Then you meet another god, and they tell you so far into it who that god is, and then they start revealing who the other guy was, and then some more gods come in. But all the way through it, they talk about Thor and they talk about Odin, and it gets you excited for those characters and those characters turning up and this, that, and the other. And then you get to the end of the game, and you go, and all I felt at the end of that game was, you've done this so you can make more. You've set this as your new format, your new formula for new God of War, and you've given us the first instalment of a new series. You've done this on purpose so you can just make more. Now, I'm not adverse to more games. I love a sequel. I love the God of War series. I love, here's a new instalment of this story and this, that, and the other. But it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted a full experience. And if you want to then go and do more, God of War has managed to do sequels whilst providing a decent instalment. I felt very much, when I got to the end, I was like, that was disappointing, because it was a game I was really enjoying, but I just wanted more from it. I wanted to be able to see more gods. At the end of the day, it's Norse mythology. It's not like they're short of a god here or two.
You should be able to play a sequel game as a standalone game as well. So if you're new to the franchise, you've got to be at a point where you're like, well, I can play this game without having seen the others, and it's still interesting. And if I play the game and I liked it, but I don't really want a sequel, I'm not going to feel I should get a sequel.
Yeah.
I think games do need to be standalone. I think that's one thing that Far Cry 5 or the Far Cry series has, is that each one is a standalone game.
Each one is its own game.
So that's quite a good thing.
It made me fear DLC. I was like, don't you dare say to me, oh, if you buy this DLC, you get to meet this god, because I will start hunting people down if that's the case. Shortest version is, I was disappointed. And I hate that. If you want my hard-earned money, if you want hard-earned cash out of my pocket, you better give me something that's worth it. I want to get to the end of that game and I want to say, yeah, you earned that money. And unfortunately, in the world we live in now, that is so few and far between. I can name games where I can say, yes, you earned the money. Ghost Recon it probably will be number one on that list.
And that is definitely some of my top at the moment.
The Witcher 3 is up there. And then I start running out, because ultimately games are just designed around how do we get more money out of you. And what I like to see is a game company that says, we don't care about getting more money out of you. You're giving us money to keeping us in business. We're going to make a game that you're really going to enjoy, and you're really going to enjoy it, and that's that.
Well, I put Dying Light up there with those. And Dying Light is a zombie game that came out a couple of years ago, and they're still releasing content for that because it's so popular. There was DLC, but it was really good DLC. It was really good content. It was hard work.
Rainbow Six Siege, I think they said recently that they're not going to make another one. They're just going to keep releasing stuff for the current one.
Yeah,
because at a point that was like 18 months after it had been released, more people were playing it then than they were.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Because I'm tempted to pick it up.
You should. It's a good game.
Yeah, I'm tempted to pick it up.
Enjoyable game.
Mm.
Yeah, just I'm just tired of feeling robbed. I feel like I've been jumped in the street and been mugged, essentially, by games.
Yeah, well, it is disappointing when you're excited for a game or anything, really, and when you get it, you're like, wow, I've just spent 64 quid and I don't feel I've had 64 quid's worth.
That's a lot of money.
I mean, that's one of the reasons that I am an achievement hunter, is because I really want to get everything out of the game. But to put it into perspective, there are 2 achievements left for me to get in Far Cry 5. One of them requires me to just fish for 19 hours, which doesn't strike me as that much fun. And the other is I've just got to throw some stones to lure some bad guys towards me. So the only reason I hadn't done it is because I kept using cheeseburger, and that was my lure.
Wow.
So, and I've never got achievements that quick for a game. Not so many. There's normally like some stuff missing. Even the online achievements were pretty quick. Like do 10 maps, kill 100 players. It's quick. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm also quite, in a way, I'm quite glad, because I don't want kill 10,000 online players and play 77 different online maps, because that's, I didn't buy a single player game for that.
Yeah.
But these achievements are very, very simple. It's as if they were like, oh shit, we need to add achievements. Oh, what can we do? So, but we've done that review.
Yeah.
I can't keep dissing it.
So that brings our review section to a close. So let's do some preview. Okay,
previews. Right. So on a positive note, State of Decay 2 is coming out now on the 18th of May. So it was going to be the 22nd of May. Original release was going to be 18th of April. But it's been pushed back slightly because there's still some polishing to do. So 18th of May now. Really liking the look of this game. For anyone that played State of Decay 1, year 1 as it is, it's a really cool zombie game, but it definitely lacked a co-op version. So, State of Decay 2 has got all the cool stuff from the first one, plus they've added a really nifty co-op version, and there's lots on base building. So anybody that liked Fallout 4 and spent more time building camps than they did actually roaming the wasteland is really going to like State of Decay, because it's very similar. You build your community, and the people that live in your community, you send them off on missions and they do stuff, and then they can be promoted. And as they're promoted, they earn different traits. They get like a leadership trait, so they're a bit more powerful. Some of them have got stealth. Some of them are like good at medical stuff. Some of them are good at growing plants. You build your base, you protect it against the hordes, and then there are various side missions to do. And there's the story mission apparently is so diverse that the theory is every time you play the game, it'll be different. And they're working on the principle that it's going to be very similar to Telltale games, where their DLC will be kind of based on extra content for the game that molds the universe that you're in. So the choices you make in the first part of the game will affect the DLC you get for the next part of the game. And they're saying that this is the kind of game that they want to build on and continue building for several years to come. So that sounds like a GTA style build-up, which is interesting. Obviously, the co-op and the graphics look awesome. There are some great zombies in there. There are cars to be had. There's a lot of stuff going on there. And from what I've seen so far on the net, there's some beautiful things coming for that. So very stoked about that. Got my pre-order in. Plus, it's only $29.99.
So this was the bit I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the fact that I think you came into work one day going, have you heard about the price of that game? And I was like, no. You're like, oh, this game, brand new game, and it's being released, and it's going to be 30 quid. And I was like, right, so what? It's an indie game. No, full-blown game. There's stuff on the internet about it.
Yeah, it's Microsoft.
There's a possibility that they're trying to generate this new sort of way of selling games. So the thing about games these days is the price just goes up and up and up. People were asked, around about the time that the PS4 and the Xbox One were being released, that if they increased the price of games, would people buy them? And the resounding answer was no, not in a cold day in hell would people pay more money for games. I was very much in the camp of you can screw off. I went to Game one day, about a year ago, and conversation about a game coming out. I think I was trying to pre-order something, and the girl was in there going, "Oh, it's going to be £50," and I was like, "I'm sorry, what? I only want one copy of it." And she was like, "Oh, games are going to be that price from this point on. It's going to cost more for games, and games are going to be more expensive." And I was like, "So nobody will buy them then?"
Mm.
And unfortunately for us, that has become what's happened. Games are now, if you can get a brand new game for less than about 46 quid, you're doing really well, because you can't do that these days. £50 for a game, which the short version is, that's too much money. Too much for a game that isn't going to last.
It sounds like, from what I understood from the research I've done on this, was the reason they put it at $29.99 is firstly to get more interest in it, so more people will buy it, but secondly so that if they release more DLC content, people might be more inclined to pay for the DLC because they only paid $29.99 for the game. And
if I'm honest, for somebody that hates the principle of DLC, I'm already intrigued by this.
Same. I like the idea of the fact, like they said, they want to work it on the Telltale thing, where you kind of release an episode a month or whatever. And I really like the idea of that. I think it's a really good way to build on the story if they do it properly.
And that's the thing, because I can say there's a game that's come out in the last couple of years that did it so wrong. The latest Hitman game.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
You cannot turn off a person's interest fast enough. If you go, here's like 4 missions, and then we're going to release the rest over the next few months. I'm sorry, what? You're going to spoon feed me the rest of my game? No.
Yeah, because the base game of State of Decay seems to be done. So there's a base game in there with plenty to do. But I think that Microsoft have realised that people tend to play their games pretty hard and they finish them fairly quickly. So they want to be able to have the ability to build on the game without that spoon feeding. Like, there's still going to be a really good base game with loads to do. And there are so many different missions, looking at the initial reports of it, that there's plenty to keep you busy for a good few weeks before the first DLC comes out. So it does look really promising. And like I say, it's exclusive to Xbox as well, I believe.
I am intrigued by this whole concept.
I think it's
I'm intrigued by the fact that they seem to be trying to bring the price of games down to get more interesting games, which is certainly thing. It sounds quite unique in a lot of ways. And I'm not going to lie, I haven't turned my Xbox on in quite some time.
Well, they're Microsoft are revolutionising how they want people to play games as well, because State of Decay is going to be on their Game Pass. For those that don't know, the Game Pass is $7.99 a month, and you get there are hundreds of games to choose from on there. And for example, at the moment, Sea of Thieves is on there. State of Decay is going to be on there. So theoretically, if you pay $7.99 a month, you're going to get 70, 80 quid's worth of game for £8.
However,
which I think is a really good deal.
And this is something, because I've actually got Sea of Thieves on the list to talk about. However, you do need the gold. Now, I let my gold membership, subscription, whatever you want to call it, lapse like 2 years ago. Like I said, I don't use my Xbox. So the premise of going, and I can do this, but I'm going to first have to pay out that 30, 40 quid for that, has put me off initially. Talking about Sea of Thieves, Leanne was really excited about Sea of Thieves. She was really interested in it. I was mildly interested. I'd seen a lot of videos, seen a lot of stuff, seen a lot of promotional stuff. Hadn't seen anything in the promotional stuff that said this game is online only and it's multiplayer and you absolutely need Xbox Gold.
It is a purely multiplayer game. Sea of Thieves is massively customizable. And there's plenty to do in it, but it is grounded in the fact that you need a decent 4-man team for your boat. As we all know, there's quite a lot of people that play online, and generally they're assholes.
Yeah.
Unless you play if you play with random people, it's really hard to find a good team. Unfortunately.
Excuse me.
Whereas, so Sea of Thieves, really, if you want to play it properly, you want a regular team to make it interesting. So that is its downside, and I think it was probably missold. In that
very much so. There was the fact that at no point did they mention any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Until the day it came out, and the only way that people found out about it was they were going to go and buy it, and then people were like, "Oh, you need Xbox Gold." Well, why the hell do I need Gold? Oh, because it's multiplayer and online multiplayer only. And I mean, Leanne said this to me. I was in a shop, and she was like, "Oh, you need Gold," and I was like, "No, you don't. What do you need Gold for?" She was like, "Because it's a multiplayer game." Since when?
Yeah, I think that reflects in the figures because I believe that Sea of Thieves didn't do as well as they anticipated initial sales. But then saying that, it's hard to see how many people downloaded it from the Game Pass. So if that worked, then I think Microsoft would be happy if more people have taken the Game Pass to get the games, because that seems to be what they want to do. And again, I'm not adverse to that. I think if I'm going to pay $7.99 a game, even with gold, still cheaper than £60, I'd be more inclined to get any DLC for it. Because you're effectively paying for 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 quid a month, and there is such a massive amount of games on Game Pass. And if all the exclusives that Microsoft released go on to Game Pass, then you're definitely quids in there.
Yeah, you're probably making money out of the deal there, which is a big...
Because they're practically giving the game away. So that's a good thing. I think that is probably the way forward.
Yeah. The only other thing that I thought we might have a quick chat about was a game that you'd mentioned earlier today, and I'd seen a little bit about, a little bit more intrigued now. Surviving Mars?
Yeah, it looks cool. I saw something about it a month or so ago, but it kind of bypassed me. It went over my head a bit. And I was browsing the store this morning, and it cropped up again. And it looks like Sin City on Mars. Or Sim City on Mars. It looks really cool. I quite like the whole terraforming and eco-managing and all that stuff. I think it's kind of cool, that.
So I'm quite a huge RTS fan.
Right.
Which I know not a lot of people are. But I really enjoy a good RTS. I've recently purchased the HD remake of StarCraft.
Oh, cool.
So I really enjoy that. And one of my favourite RTS is Halo Wars.
Yeah.
But Halo Wars 1. Halo Wars 2 was rubbish.
Yeah, so again, Halo Wars 2, I think they overdid the concept they had. Because Halo Wars was one of those rare games where it worked really well on a console, because unfortunately, if you normally when you add games like Command and Conquer and stuff, which are really good point and click on the PC, when you stick them onto console, it just feels really slow.
You can't do the point and click aspect.
Yeah, so you lose a lot of that tactical quick decision aspect over it. Whereas Halo Wars worked really well. I only played the skirmish mode of Halo Wars 2, which I actually really liked. The skirmish mode, I like the idea of having like a certain set of cards and you could do stuff. But then, I found that the reviews kind of slagged it off a bit and said that it was a bit disappointing. But again, that's also on Game Pass, so if anybody wants to try it for $7.99.
Also, they made a carbon copy of a mission from another game.
Right.
And I was like, wow, how has that gone unnoticed?
Shit.
It was very naughty.
Yeah, that is a bit naughty.
I don't know if they were trying to make out it was like a homage or what, but yeah, it was a carbon copy of a mission from a different game.
Yeah, I mean, games are in a weird place at the moment because there's not that many really good games out there. And I think developers, they seem to be at a bit of a loss. So games like Surviving Mars, they're completely different. You're taking an original concept of like a city simulator game and just changing the environment and making it a bit more interesting. The colours are interesting, the graphics are interesting, the micromanagement looks a lot more fun. It looks a lot more slick. There's a really cool soundtrack. The soundtrack is it's quite epic in itself. So it's definitely a game worth checking out. I think I'm going to be downloading it later tonight.
I think, personally, I think I'm going to wait for it to come down a little bit in price. I don't know, is it something you can buy?
It was on the store at £31 this morning.
Through the magic of the Amazon app, I can tell you, if I can spell... which is it's available on the PS4. That's £30, £30.73.
Yeah, so there you
go. I would potentially wait a little while. Personally, I would wait a little while on that one. I'm not telling people to wait. I'm saying I would wait personally on that one. Just a little bit cheaper for me, because purely I don't know the deal. I know it looked very RTS and it looked my kind of game. But I think, yeah, my disappointment is high with games at the moment. Don't get me started on Sniper Elite 4. So we've done review for games, we've done preview for games. Let's switch gears.
All right.
Go into third gear with more reviews.
Excellent.
But of movies.
What an exciting week.
So, I said to somebody the other day, I have been to the cinema more times in the last week than I have in the last 5 years.
Wow.
And that is a true statement. I went to the cinema more in one day than I've been in the last... Could be in the last 5 years, certainly in the last 3 years. Which is, one of those things. Unfortunately, one of the times that I went to the cinema, it reminded me 100% why I don't go to the cinema.
Are you going to say because there are people in the cinema?
Because there are people there.
Right.
I don't.
This is a guy that does podcasts to millions, but doesn't really like people. I find that quite entertaining.
There's a few things wrong with that statement. The podcast to millions.
Well, I might be bigging it up a little bit. I mean, okay, so 7 people, but
it's not that I don't like people. It's I don't like cinemas with people in them.
That sounds a lot like I don't like people.
No,
just by adding the word cinema doesn't take away from the fact.
No, that's not it. Right. It's really hard to explain. I'm a huge film fan. I'm not as big a film fan as I used to be. I was a little bit obsessive about films a few years back. Now I'm more like I enjoy a good movie, but I like to watch a film in a certain way.
Right.
And more recently, I like the opportunity to nip to the toilet, press pause and nip to the toilet, because minutes into the Black Panther, I needed the toilet and was like, aww. Anybody who actually knows me, especially anybody who knows me from work, knows that I drink a large quantity of liquid during the day. So going to the cinema, having drunk what's probably bordering on gallons of liquid. I went to the toilet before we went in, and about 10 minutes into the film, I was like,
I'm going to say, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Man, really? But yeah, me and work, they should just move my desk into the toilet at work, and then
maybe you should
hell of a lot more
it.
Productive. I should speak to you. You're sorting the new office out.
I'll do it. I'll get toilets at every desk.
Yeah. Oh. Just a bucket would be an option.
Nice.
Right, let's okay, let's go 50-50. So we've seen, you and I have seen 2 films together. I've seen a third film. Me and Leanne are going to review the third film, so you don't have to worry about that.
That's
so the 2 films we saw Black Panther.
We did.
And then we followed it up with a midnight showing of Avengers Infinity War. I think we should do a spoiler-free Avengers. Have you seen the poster that they've released?
No.
That says, for other people's enjoyment, please do not spoil Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
Because originally they released one that was supposed to be from Thanos, saying Thanos will destroy you if you ruin Avengers for other people. And then now it's just this Marvel thing that says, look, story's very important with these films.
Yeah,
and
don't ruin it.
There are some key points in the new Avengers film, please don't ruin it for other people by telling them what happens. Which I think is fair.
Well, yeah, I've got some friends who are going to watch it this weekend, and I've said to them, stay off the internet at all costs. Because
very much
the first review I read of the Avengers was the day we went to see it. That was just before we saw it on the actual Wednesday. And that gave nothing away. It just said, this is quite a good film because of X, Y, and Z. The next day, after we'd seen it, I read another review that basically says, and this is what happens and why.
Here's everything that happened in this film.
And now let's analyse what we think is going to happen in a sequel. I think it's a shame that people are so obsessed with the sequel because you should really be enjoying this one.
I said to you earlier that there's been uproar that they won't release the name of the next Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Because there is a little bit of an issue with the end of Infinity War. And that's not a spoiler. That is just a statement. So Marvel, chill. I didn't ruin it for anybody.
Well, no, I mean, there's not an issue with the end of it. It's great. It's really good. There's no issue. It's good. It's exactly what I expected a film to be. I walked out of the cinema with a wow, what happened? That was great.
We are jumping ahead. Let's rewind. So I think we can do. Let's not tell everybody everything that happened in Black Panther, but we don't need to do spoiler free, but let's do spoiler free for Infinity Wars.
Okay.
Let's talk Black Panther. So, you and I had a conversation, which was, we're going to drag Paul Williams to Infinity War.
Mm.
And I said, okay, let's do it. I'm well up for this. One small problem, I've not seen Black Panther. And you said...
Neither have I.
Boom. So we were like, I'm a little bit, You're a completionist with games.
Yeah, I'm a completionist, and I feel I need to watch things in order.
I'm a bit like, kind of... I wasn't overly bothered about Black Panther as a concept.
I really liked him in Civil War, so I really wanted to see what...
Yeah, but I wasn't... when he was in Civil War, I was like, yeah, that's cool, that's great. And then they went, he's got his own film. And I was like, is he a good enough character to have his own movie? Is he enough of a character to have his own film? Again, essentially... He's just a guy in a suit.
Yeah, I mean, I think he does warrant his own movie purely because he's quite an unexplored character.
He is. If I'm honest, I didn't really know about his increased abilities. I thought it was the suit.
Right. Yeah, but it's.
If I'm honest, it's not. That was that.
Yeah. I mean, the origin stories are always quite interesting.
So, I was having a googly moogly. I was mooching around on the View website. Lo and behold, Black Panther 8:30 showing.
Still on. We're talking like this was released a month ago.
Now I said to you that I thought that was solely because I don't think they've had long enough between Black Panther and Infinity War, and I think they're giving people the opportunity, like you and I, who hadn't seen it, and it's not been released to buy.
Yeah.
So there's a huge amount of people who will, like me, sit there and go, I'll just see it when it comes out. That's not an option. So, we did the buying of the tickets, we went to the movie place, we went in, we watched Black Panther. We came out. I didn't want to say anything because I thought I was going to be on my own, because let's not forget, Black Panther has had fantastic reviews.
Yeah.
It has had really good reviews, ranging from this is the best Marvel film ever to it's a great film not only for the black community but women. It's a positive women film. The women are really good in it. It's a great film. It has such good reviews, and that was that. So I was like, cool, let's go see this film. It's had great reviews. We watched it. We came out. I didn't say anything. We went to McDonald's for coffee, and I couldn't hold it in any longer, and I kind of said, so what did you guys think to that film?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I don't know if it's because I'd watched Ragnarok not that long before. And Ragnarok was a really good, fun movie. And I think the one I saw before that was probably Doctor Strange.
And there's a good movie.
And I really enjoyed Doctor Strange.
I love Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I think that's
my review of Doctor Strange is it's very unlike all the other Marvel films for one simple reason. And this is going to sound awful, but the reason that it's unlike all the others is there's something's happening all the time.
Yeah.
you can't get more than 10 minutes between something happening and something else happening.
That's right.
There's always something going on in that film. And I love that, because some of my biggest complaints about the Marvel films and the Marvel TV stuff is there's big chunks of time where nothing happens. It's just talky, and I need, I'm a pictures more than words kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I need stuff to happen, and Doctor Strange delivers that.
Yeah.
There's always something going on in that film.
Yeah, Black Panther is it's quite a serious movie, but it focuses a lot on what seems to be South African kind of ancient tribal origins, I suppose, and the city of Wakanda is very much in a bubble. I think, it's kind of torn between two worlds, because the characters inside Wakanda are modern, but their way of life is really old, and the two don't go together. So it's a bit like I suppose it echoes with Iron Man, the first Iron Man, when at the end of Iron Man, Tony Stark tells everyone that he's Iron Man. And I think that Black Panther kind of wants to go in the same direction, but it just had a different delivery. I mean, I don't know. It was an okay film, but it definitely lacked something. I'm not sure what it was. I wanted to see more Black Panther and less Prince, whatever he's called.
And that is what it was lacking. It was lacking Black Panther.
He hardly wore the suit, because there was a scene where there's a car chase. And that was a really cool. That was a really exciting. Yeah, that was a really exciting scene. But then after that, not much really happened.
No.
Some random dude turned up and was just a complete arse.
Yeah.
Like he was a villain, but I just hated him because he was just a knobhead.
Yeah.
And the guy that played him really well, because I wanted to punch him. So that's some good acting, because if you despise the character, then it's worked.
And it wasn't the actor, because I really like him as an actor in other stuff.
Yeah,
because it's Michael B. Jordan, who's it was in Creed. And
it's just the way he comes across. The character's just
he played that
a horrible
really
piece
well.
of work, and which I suppose we wanted, but it seemed too fast. The kind of film was moving at quite a slow, pleasant pace. It was quite interesting, and then suddenly it kicked up a gear and crammed a load in at the end.
Yeah.
And then it was over. And we were like, shit, what just happened there? Black Panther's been and gone. So, and the end credit scene was weird.
I just walked away going, I'm not sure that film deserved the reviews it got, because I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like it was, it was that. I felt it was lacking, is for want of a better word.
Had a good soundtrack though.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, cool soundtrack.
So we watched Black Panther. I got a Deadpool head before.
Oh yeah, you did. Deadpool popcorn head.
Deadpool popcorn head.
If anybody gets a chance to go to View and get a Deadpool popcorn head, buy one, because it's just an Instagram guru.
It's not cheap, but I was prepared to outlay that money, because it really looks really good.
Yeah, it's not cheap, but your Instagram followers will definitely go up if you take pictures of it.
Okay, so we had 50 minutes to kill. We got a coffee, got something to eat, talked about Black Panther and how some of us were a little disappointed about it. And then we went back for the midnight showing.
We did. To a sea of people.
Oh my God. Because I'm there going, we've got tickets, but I think it's going to be a little bit busy, because there are 6 screens showing 6 versions, or not different versions, but 6. There was 2 3D and 4 2D showings of Infinity War at midnight. That should have been a clue.
Interestingly, though, our cinema was quite empty.
Our screen was,
the
wasn't
room
it?
that we were in only had about 20 people.
It was massive. And there was like 20 or 30 people there. And I was like, where's all the people? Because there's hundreds outside.
Yeah, so some of those screens must have been jam-packed. So
wow, they will have been like sardines in some of those screens. Yeah. So, we went and watched Infinity War. So let's try and stick to the spoiler-free aspect. All I'm going to say about that film is probably 2 things. The first thing is, that's a great film.
Yeah, and I would say whatever you think is going to happen.
Yeah, no, don't go into that film with preconceptions, because
Isn't.
whatever you think's going to happen, it really isn't.
Yeah, it's not.
Unless you've already read the plot of that movie.
Well, interesting. My brother, he read Infinity in the comics, and the Infinity War movie is a combination of Infinity and the Gauntlet of Power, or the Gauntlet of Doom, or something. So it's basically two iconic Marvel stories smashed together.
Yeah.
So my brother said, "Oh well, I know what happens." And when he spoke to me yesterday on the phone, he knew what happens.
Oh.
He was like, this happens, that happens, this person does that, this person does this, and that should be the result. And he was pretty much spot on. So I would say that if you are a big Marvel fan and you've read those stories, you probably know what's going on. But if you just like the films and you don't read the comics, then I think you'll enjoy the movie more.
I'm a little bit of both on that. I do enjoy the comics, but I also enjoy the films. Civil War's graphic novel is one of my favourite graphic novels of all time, which is why I had major apprehensions about the film. I really enjoyed the film as a standalone film.
It's a good film. Yeah, I like it.
Avengers Infinity War, brilliant film, great movie, definitely worth the reviews that it got. And I think I would agree with you. When we walked out of that film, you and I were like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell's got what? There was a point in the film I physically turned to you in that movie and went, what?
Yeah.
Because
why?
Again, spoiler free, a character turns up in that film and I'm like, is that? It is. By the way, I saw earlier that it's not the same actor.
I didn't think it was because of the voice.
Yeah, the voice was different. No spoilers. A character turns up at some point in that film and it was very surprising, but also very cool. Yes, there are some things that people... we walked out of that film going, that film was great.
It was good.
But what the fuck? And loads of questions, loads of unanswered questions, and some people don't like that. Some people don't want to go to the cinema.
They want to know what's going to happen.
I need to know what's happening. What's this? What's that? What's the other? I was talking to a mate of mine, and he went, "Oh, I haven't seen it, but this is what's going to happen." And he's talking about the next one. So he hasn't even seen this one, and he's already said. And I said to you, I think I know how they're gonna move forward with the story.
Yeah, I think if you want to know how it's going to move forward, read the Infinity story.
But you and I were sort of throwing out all these names of upcoming Marvel films. You've got Captain Marvel, you've got Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Venom.
Yeah, so I was looking online at this because obviously I've being a completionist and the anal person I am, I want to know how it's going to fit, but without wanting to see a film really quickly. So this year there are 2 Marvel films coming out this year that's left. Ant-Man and Wasp is out in July and Venom is out in October. So Ant-Man and Wasp will be directly tied in to the MCU Avengers as we know it. Venom looks to be a standalone parallel story. I'm not sure on the actual timeline yet.
So
hard to tell. And
the way it's gone so far is originally they said Venom is a standalone movie that doesn't even feature Spider-Man. A few months later they said Venom is a standalone movie. However, Spider-Man may or may not appear. A couple of months later they said, okay, here's the deal. Venom, standalone movie. However, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, has been confirmed as a cast member. So that told everybody everything they needed to know that Venom's a standalone movie, but Spider-Man's going to be in it. Infinity War happens, not going to ruin anything for anybody, but now the question is, where does Venom fit in to the timeline?
Yeah, and because we don't want to give anything away, I can't tell you. So, which leads me on to Captain Marvel. And Captain Marvel is an origin story set in the 1990s.
And that's...
with Nick Fury, who Samuel L. Jackson is reprising the role, I believe. And that will lead directly up then to the next Avengers movie. And that's the timeline.
Okay. So where does Venom fit?
I can't tell you. Yeah, I want to tell you, but I can't. I can tell you after this podcast if you like.
Okay. Do we talk about Venom? Because you and I have different opinions about Venom.
Yeah, you can, because I think Venom's a great character, and I like Tom Hardy, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I hate Venom. I think he's the worst character ever. And you know what I definitely wouldn't do? I definitely would never have him tattooed on my body.
Right, yeah, see, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that if you hate that character.
So you see, I might have a little bit more at stake in this one.
Yeah, you might, because I don't have him tattooed on my body at all.
So...
And because Disney now own everything, I don't think I'll ever get a Marvel character tattooed on my body.
Wow, you're going to do that? Wow. Tell you what, why don't I lie on the floor and you can kick me in the balls?
I'm just saying. Because now if you cry when Venom's rubbish, you'll be like...
No, don't you worry, I've already shed my tears. So, here's how this goes. I'm just going to throw all the water out and the baby. So...
Why do we say that?
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
It's such a stupid... Who would do that anyway? Anyway, sorry. Yeah, moving on.
So, I'm going to just... Everything, I'm throwing it all out. I didn't hate Spider-Man 3. Let's start with that. Let's go from there.
Are we talking Spider-Man 3 with Venom? Is that, so you didn't hate that movie? I didn't... It's rare for me to hate a movie. And I didn't hate the movie. I expected... Venom's a certain type of character that demands more than what they did with that film. I think in the end, there were so many villains in Spider-Man 3 that it was really hard to give Venom the screen time that he deserved. And I think that franchise at the time was on its way out anyway. Yeah. There were quite a lot of problems with it, and Spider-Man is a difficult.
I would never have an argument with anybody who wants to tell me that Spider-Man 3 was awful and that Venom was shocking and so on and so forth. I think they did the best with what they had. Venom needs his own film. Yeah, he does. Venom needs to be his own character and all of this. Yes, there was a lot going on in that film. Yeah, it could have looked better. Yeah. What I liked about it was that it was quite close to Venom's origin story. That is essentially what happens with Venom.
That is true.
I've read various Venom comics, various Venom series. The recent one I've read recently is the Agent Venom stuff, which there are rumours that this new Venom film follows some of that story. The Agent Venom.
That's cool.
Which would be interesting. So, Spider-Man 3, I didn't hate it. I'm throwing that out there. Say what you want. I didn't hate it. Let's move on. Venom movie standalone. Spider-Man, yes or no? Blah 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 blah. Tom Hardy. Now I'm mixed with Tom Hardy. I think when Tom Hardy's used correctly, he's very good. I think when he isn't used correctly, he's not very good. Mad Max. That role could have been played by anybody.
Yeah, see, the thing is about Mad Max, though, is that Charlize Theron, Furiosa, is particularly good in it. But she speaks a lot, and Mad Max does a lot.
And he doesn't.
And I think, again, it comes back to the fact that we're used to Mel Gibson playing Mad Max, who is one of those characters that kind of fills the screen because he's Mel Gibson. So, and that was very much a speaking role, and the Mad Max that Mel Gibson played was different to the Mad Max that Tom Hardy plays. Yeah. We see a completely different side to this Mad Max. I've just been playing the Mad Max game on the Xbox.
Great game.
And I feel that's the Tom Hardy Mad Max.
Yeah.
And that I think if you play the game and then go and watch the film, you'll be much more appreciative.
So, some examples. I think that Tom Hardy is fantastic in Legend.
Yeah, he is.
Purely
two of him.
Because he plays two different characters.
Yeah, he does it.
And plays them both really well.
Yeah, he does.
It's a great film.
I know what you're going to say next.
Warrior?
I thought you were going to say, then he plays Bane.
No, I'd shy away from Bane because, again, I'm a little bit you're a completionist as far as games and things like that. Me, Batman, Bane. We've got some mixed history, I'm afraid. I read.
Is he tattooed on your body?
Batman or Bane?
Bane.
Bane, no. Batman, soon.
Right.
I have a Batman tattoo.
Is it Ben Affleck?
Oh, can you imagine if it was? Then I'd really be complete. But yeah, I might have another Batman tattoo by the end of this week. Who knows?
Oh, okay. Ben Affleck.
Yeah. It's not Batman, it's Ben Affleck.
Yeah, she's just going to get a picture.
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, you
Ben
can actually
Affleck.
have Ben Affleck tattooed on your forehead.
Ben Affleck's face tattooed over
on your
my
face.
face.
That's a cool idea.
Oh, man.
That's a great
so
idea.
all over that.
Wow.
So no, I wasn't going to say Ben. I was going to say Warrior. I think he's great in Warrior. If you've ever seen that.
I don't
UFC.
think I have.
UFC movie. Not a UFC movie.
Yeah,
MMA
no,
movie.
I've not seen Warrior.
Great film. Get that watched.
Yeah, okay.
Good film.
Yeah, I haven't seen that actually.
And then there's other roles he's a bit hit and miss in.
He plays Alfie in Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, couldn't get on with that show.
What? What's wrong with you, man? Anybody out there, obviously these are on YouTube, so please comment if you think that Mr. Cook is being a knobhead by not getting on with Peaky Blinders.
Oh, Jesus, do you think that the people are going to just comment on Peaky Blinders if they think I'm being a knobhead? By now...
Can you please just comment on Peaky Blinders if you think he's a knobhead?
So... Len tells me I say so too many times in the podcast, and now I'm really conscious of it.
So maybe you do.
so maybe I do.
Well, it's better than saying.
But that's what I've replaced it with. I've replaced it with
Do you not think that when people go it sounds like a vibrating mobile phone?
My biology teacher used to say the phrase, always say it sounds like you're thinking.
I just think it sounds like you're not.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got a blockage somewhere. Yeah. Or you're a mobile phone.
There's a blockage in your toilet. Venom. Shit. So you came to work, you were like, have you seen the teaser trailer for Venom? And I went, I have not. Oh, it's a proper teaser trailer. It doesn't show you anything. And I was like, oh, I'm excited. So I watched it pretty much there and then and went, ooh. You don't get to see it. You see like a little bit of something, and I was really excited. I was like, "This looks fucking brilliant," because you don't see anything, and that's the true definition of a teaser trailer. And the internet went mental.
See, yeah, this goes full circle in what we were just saying about the Avengers. Is that people just can't wait?
Yeah, people cannot wait.
People wanted to see Venom.
They wanted to see the whole film.
My brother said, "Oh, you don't even see Venom in the trailer," and I was like, "Yeah, that's really good." And it's a bit like what people are saying, oh, I want to know what happens in the next Avengers movie now.
So wait to see the next Avengers movie.
Yeah, I think if they'd have kept the teaser as it was, that would have been a better plan.
Shit, now I'm conscious of doing that. I need a combination of the two words. CERN. Then the trailer comes out and you're like, oh my god, the trailer for Venom's here and it's amazing. And I was like, ooh, I need to watch this. I need to check this out. And I put it on and I watched it and I finished it. And I looked over the desks all the way down the office to where you were and I did the shaky side-to-side hands.
Yeah, the shaky head thing.
And I said, meh.
And I was just surprised because I think it looks great. Please comment.
Here's the thing. I think, because they show Venom at the end of the trailer. And I went, now here's something. The first time I watched that trailer, I watched it with no sound.
Huh.
So I just saw the visual. And they show Venom at the end, and I went, my God, he looks awful. Have you seen Spawn?
Yeah. Yeah,
you see where I'm going with this? He looks like Spawn from the 90s.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
However, when I watched it at the same time, I really liked the voice.
The voice is cool.
That they're using for them. I really liked that. That was really cool. But I thought Venom looked awful.
Let's see if I can find a clip of Venom's voice.
You won't be able to use it. We're not allowed to use stuff.
Can't I just put it on there? I can't just put the voice on there.
Not
what about if I talk into like a tin can and make it sound like...
You do the voice.
Right, I'll do the voice.
Yeah, that could be your impression.
Right, let me find the voice.
No, you can't find the voice and then
I'll do the voice.
No! We'll get sued.
Will we?
Yes!
What the fuck? Oh man, I get sued for doing the voice of Venom.
You do the voice.
I can't do the voice. It's too deep and it's like metallic.
It's good.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like really deep. It's like it's like a metallic-y kind of. Yeah, like.
It's really gravelly.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a proper Venom voice. One of the things that I believe is missing from the Deadpool stuff, the Deadpool movies possibly, is the voices. Because he has 2 additional voices in his head.
Yeah.
And I wish they'd do that.
That's true.
So, short version is, I didn't like the look of the Venom trailer. I don't like the look of the fact that there's points where he's using the symbiote without being Venom. I didn't like the look of the motorbikes falling away from him, and he uses the symbiote to grab the motorbike. I just didn't like the look of it. I don't like the look of that film. And like I say, this is coming from a man who has Venom tattooed on his body. Because, you know, I've kind of got a little bit riding on this one.
Well, let's just hope that the movie is better than you expect.
Hey, I'm all up for, you know, not being disappointed.
I'm excited about it. So, I mean, yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's cool. I think it looks cool. And like I say, I like Tom Hardy.
My mate Luke
I think Venom's an interesting character.
My mate Luke said that, he said, it was because people like to look at Tom Hardy. And I was like, right, I like Venom. I'd rather see a great Venom film than Tom Hardy.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I'm going primarily to watch it because I want to learn about Venom. So I want to see Venom. I'm hoping we'll see like 50% Venom, 50% Tom Hardy. Which actually leads us back to the Avengers, because that's what we were talking about. The coolest thing about the Avengers and the way it's written is that every character gets a really good amount of screen time.
They will have had to have laid that out very carefully, though. They will have had to have said, this person needs this much time, this person needs this much time. You need to see some Iron Man, you need to see some Batman, you need to see some Spider-Man, you need to see
Batman. But see, for those of you that are going to watch the Avengers, Batman isn't in it. Spoiler alert, Batman is not in.
But Batman was in the film that I watched yesterday.
Which was?
Ready Player One.
Oh, yeah.
The Flash was in it as well.
Right.
But we'll talk about we won't talk about it.
No, we won't.
Because you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
But there will be a review of that film later. Spoilers, I've read the book.
And apparently they're not the same in any way, shape or form.
But I have a lot to say about that because, well, anyway, that's a spoiler for my review.
Right.
I'm ruining my own review.
Excellent.
So, Avengers, great movie.
Yeah, that's...
And I have a lot of questions, and I think I might have an answer.
I think I could give it 5 out of 5.
Yeah, because I think it got, I think IGN gave it a 9.
Yeah, I think I'd give it 5 out of 5.
I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
I'd give it 5 stars because
it
keeps you... I was proper on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Like, there were moments when I was like, what's going to happen here? I was genuinely excited.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened for a long time.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good film, and I'm pleased, especially because I've, actually gone to the cinema to see it and stuff.
And it was cool in 3D.
Yeah, we watched it in 3D, didn't we?
It's in 3D. Incidentally, I saw the trailer for Solo while we were there in 3D, as did you, and it looks really cool in 3D.
As I've said to you previously, I couldn't have less interest about anything that's got Star Wars on it.
Yeah, I have Han Solo tattooed on my butt cheeks. So,
you should.
That's why I've got a lot riding on it.
You should do that.
No, I shouldn't.
No.
No, I really shouldn't.
I haven't seen The Last Jedi. I'm not. It's out now. I could go and buy it if I wanted to watch it.
I'd rent it. I don't think I'd buy it unless you want like if you ever want to get the trilogy, I'd wait till the trilogy comes out. Yeah, I mean we're not going to review this, but
my only interest in Solo, and I said this in the cinema, my only interest in Solo is seeing what Donald Glover does with the Lando Calrissian character. Yeah, because I think that's good casting.
I think it's going to be a fun movie. I think it's going to be fun. It's a bit of an origin story, and I think I'm looking forward to it just purely because I'm obviously a Star Wars fan, as I mentioned in the last podcast, and I just want to see what they do with it. It'd be interesting to see how this guy takes on the role of Harrison Ford, and how they deal with the origin story that is Han Solo. He's a cool character, so it's a good origin character to play. Let's just see what they do with it. Hopefully they won't kill it.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So that's kind of it. That's our game, movie,
roundup,
game review, game preview, movie review, movie preview. I suppose.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a movie preview, isn't it?
Yeah, it's done some movie because Venom's not out.
No, Venom's not out. Nor is Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Oh, for those of you going to watch the Avengers, obviously, in case you don't know, stay until all the credits have rolled.
Yeah, I think that's kind of law with Marvel now.
Yeah, but I still get asked.
Yeah.
Should I stay till after the credits? Yes.
Part of me sort of does the... No, there's nothing after the credits. Just so that people just leave part way through.
I wish they didn't do it, though. I don't really like sitting through all the credits.
Yeah.
Or I wish they'd, rush through the credits. I mean, I know you've got to give people credit, but, I mean, nobody really cares. Other than the people that are in it, right? I just want them to, speed up the credits and get to that last little scene, please.
That's why I like watching stuff at home, because you can fast forward through the credits.
Dear Marvel, please
provide a fast forward button
in the cinema so we can just rinse through the credits and get to the part we actually want.
Yeah. That's a good idea. They should have a voting system, and if more than 50% of people vote,
that's a good idea.
Yes, then they can fast forward through the credits.
That's a good idea.
There you go. View, listen up.
Get yourself a voting system.
Voting system. Right then, that's that.
Okay.
So that's the end of the podcast for today. Yeah, cool. Thank you for coming. Do come back and we can do more reviews.
Yeah, well, I imagine I'll be back once State of Decay is out and I've played it.
Yeah, when was that? 20th?
18th of May, I think.
18th of May, not long.
So, yeah, I'll give that a bash and then tell you if my vision of the future was correct or if it was nonsense like it was for Far Cry 5.
Such a disappointment. Right then, we'll leave it there. Cheers for coming. Do come back.
Yeah, I shall. Again. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there you go. What did you think to that? At this point in time, I actually owe an apology. I need to apologise to God of War. When I reviewed God of War, it was basically that's how I felt about the game. Last night, I watched a video that was, here's the ending of God of War explained. So I watched the video and thought, that'd be interesting to see what the explanation for it is, and realised that I haven't actually finished the game. So there was some stuff that sort of showed things that I said were maybe missing from the game. Turns out that they might not have been missing from the game. I'm not going to spoil anything on that one, but I do owe God of War an apology. What I can say is I'm still playing it again, so we'll see if I might have to review it again further down the line when I've played all of it. So there's that. Get yourself over to thecookiecast.com. Give us a shout. Tell us what you're thinking. Are you liking the podcast special format? Is there particular specials you want to see in the future? Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. And yeah, give us a shout. Even just say hello. That would be nice. So yeah, basically until next time, check out the website and give us a shout. But until then, bye-bye.